Dawajcie oglądamy jeszcze lore z Path of Exile 2, albo raczej przygotowujący do Path of Exile 2. Lecimy w takim razie.
Lore is stellar, but many people tune it out due to its presentation. However, it looks like Path of Exile 2 will step up in the story department. To prepare anyone who has not played PoE 1 or did give it a go but never got into the lore, but wants to know the essentials for Path of Exile 2, I present this video. Path of Exile 1's lore you need to know for Path of Exile 2. The Basics, Part 1 of 4.
Wow. Poczekaj, to jest pierwsza część 4? Okej. Zobaczymy jak siądzie i jak wam się spodoba, to będziemy oglądać dalej. Także jak chcecie więcej, koniecznie subskrybujcie kanał na YouTubie, jak ktoś to ogląda na YouTubie, i wbijajcie na live'y na Twitch TV NadiWins od 17:30 każdego dnia. Będziemy robić materiały z PoE, czyli podstawy lorowe, potem akty, to jakby trochę pachnie spoilerem. Na pewno jeżeli będzie to jakiś spoilerowy content, to będę ostrzegał w tym na filmie. Okej, no to dobra, zobaczymy basics, zobaczymy jak siądzie pierwszy film, oglądamy. W sumie ja kompletnie nie mam pojęcia o lorze, nie mam pojęcia nic o lorze PoE. Kompletnie nic. Nie wiem, czy to jest lore na zasadzie bitwy dwóch frakcji, anioły demony, tak jak to jest w Diablo 2, czyli bardzo prostoliniowy lore, dosyć płaski. Czy jest to coś na zasadzie niesamowitych historii jak w World of Warcraft, gdzie przeczytałem 20 książek. Także jedziemy, zobaczmy, ugryźmy to.
4. Palamoana Exiles talk to try here with another Path of Exile 1 and 2 video. Like the video if you end up liking it, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for future content just like this. Thank you so much for watching. Topic 1. Rayclast. Almost all of Path of Exile 1 and 2's stories occur on the continent of Rayclast, defined very clearly as follows. Rayclast is a dark, brutal continent, scarred by
Skąd to muzyka jest? Z jakiej gry jest to muzyka? Znam ją doskonale i bardzo mi się podoba.
mysterious catastrophes of the past and inhabited by creatures of nightmare. The very environment challenges exiles who dare explore it. The land is swarmed by monsters, inhabited by restless dead, plagued by vagabonds, despots, and of course, criminals, like the player character in Path of
Aha, okej, dobra, społem pierwszy akt. Długo siedziałem w pierwszym akcie, bo nagrywałem tam filmiki o Diablo 4. No to...
Exile 1. We arrive in Rayclast originally as a form of punishment, unknowing that as an exile, those who banished us had far more dastardly intention. There are tiny settlements across Rayclast, points of fading light in this abyssal void, but they are far and few between. Across these safe havens lies
Ale
endless
fajny
troves
potwór
of danger,
świeczkowy.
beasts, and invaluable items like uniques and virtue gems, which we'll discuss soon. In Path of Exile 2, it appears most of our journey will occur on the cursed wanderings of Rayclast, though there's always a chance we venture far and wide, or to another realm entirely. We'll discover the truth soon enough. Topic 2. Virtue Gems. Among these treasured objects are arguably the most coveted artifacts across all of Rayclast, Virtue Gems. These magical slags of rock embody all thaumaturgy, or magic in Rayclast. They are also the skill and support gems our characters use to power almost every single one of our abilities.
Co ty gadasz, że support gemy, skill gemy są jakby powiązane z lorem jakoś kanonicznie? Fajnie.
Every virtue gem is mined from the Great Mount Veruso, the titanic mountain which houses a creature called the Beast, which we'll discuss in a few moments. It's theorized that virtue gems are crystallized corruption that feed off the willpower of their user. They allow us to conjure fire from thin air, imbue our weapons with giantish might, and alter our abilities to do the impossible. The number of virtue gems in the wild is unknown, with some equating their quantity to flecks of sand on a beach. But it's well known they all originate from Rayclast and from within the beast's confinement. In the past, civilizations attempted to encase virtue gems in their bodies, which led to catastrophic results, like
Ja cię kręcę, czyli jeszcze przedstawia ewolucję, jak ludzie od odkrycia tych gemów, skill i support gemów, niesamowite, że oni jakby, że to jest tak rozbudowane i człowiek chce w to aż uwierzyć, no nie? Mega beka, że jakby oni robili taką, nawet niedoskonalenie, tylko jakby na zasadzie prób i błędów na sobie testowali te gemy. I dlatego potem jakby te gemy ostatecznie uznali, że te gemy trzeba wkładać w zbroję, w elementy opancerzenia i tak jak niszczą może ciało, ewolucja taka no, niszczą ciało, sprawdzają się świetnie na stali albo na jakiś krusz.
The Gemlings. We'll talk about some of these civilizations momentarily. Over time, people discovered the best way to wield them was through weapons and other gear, which is why we slot them into our equipment in-game. We receive the immense power without the deadly cost. Without the strength intrinsic to virtue gems, it's certain exiles like us in Path of Exile 1 would be unable to face the tremendous horrors of Rayclast. In Path of Exile 2, this is no different.
No po prostu to jakby bohaterowie w PoE, tak, to są po prostu ludzie, wygnańcy, wygnańcy, no tak, no taki lore jest chyba, nie? W dwójce uciekamy przed szubienicą w ogóle, taki jest menu wyboru postaci i tak naprawdę jesteśmy zwykłymi, szarymi ludźmi, którzy nie mają jakichś niesamowitych cech, tylko my jesteśmy takimi Power Rangersami trochę, nie? Że tylko nasz gear, tylko to, co mamy na sobie, a nie my jako sobie, my, jako ludzie, tylko ten gear nas boostuje. Bez tego gearu bylibyśmy totalnym ścierwem i gównem, nie? Czy jakby my w sobie też mamy w PoE jakieś takie moce? No bo na przykład w Diablo ludzie to Nefalemowie. Oni na Golasa po prostu są mocni. No właśnie, bo jeszcze przez ewolucję docieram do ascendacji, czy jak to się mówi po polsku. Ascendencji, nie? Tak. Więc jakby wykrzesuję z siebie coś, jakby, nie wiem, taką prawdziwą drogę, te umiejętności prawdziwe, czyli infernalistka. Potrafi tak jakby cała płonąć, zamieniać swoją skórę i wyzwalać z siebie, wykrztuszać z siebie jakieś infernalistyczne umiejętności, nie? Wtedy dochodzimy, czyli jakby przed ascendencją jesteśmy zwykłymi śmieciami, ale po ascendencji, no odkrywamy swoje prawdziwe przeznaczenie tak jakby i swoją prawdziwą moc, już niezależną od giru. Jesteśmy takimi jakby wiedźminami, mutantami. Pełny stan świadomości. Dobra. To lepiej wygląda już.
Virtue gems remain the primary method
Bo
of
trochę lipa, jakbyśmy byli tylko kierowani przez gear.
increasing our might and pushing further and further into the darkness and corruption of Rayclast. Though thanks to some mechanical system changes, we may have a few questions about virtue gems that shall need answering. Topic 3, the Val. Now, let's explore 4 core civilizations and cultures integral to the story of Path of Exile 1, and most likely Path of Exile 2, beginning with the Val. The most ancient of advanced civilizations to walk the continent of Rayclast were the Val. They predate most of the well-storied cultures and stories of the current day, and were among the first to begin experimenting with virtue gems. With them, they gained great power over other cultures and creatures of Rayclast. One of the most famous savants of virtue
Czyli można powiedzieć, że Val to były ziomeczki, jedno z obozów z plemion, które jako pierwsze zagłębiały się w gemy i są technologicznie najbardziej zaawansowani.
gems was Doriani, a Val thaumaturgist who both led to the success and utter destruction of the Val, or so it is thought. Although the Val were technologically advanced, with many of their remains in the present being high-functioning constructs and unbelievable structures, one of the most basic urges of humankind was their downfall: greed. Under the direction of Adziri, the last queen of the Val, Doriani pursued the secrets of immortality and unrivaled power over others.
Odklejka,
This pursuit ended in a
wiadomo.
cataclysmic event during which the vast majority of the Val were killed and their country wiped from the face of Rayclast. Beings of pure chaos, like chaos itself, suggest there's more to this apocalyptic event than is currently surmised, that perhaps the Val saved Rayclast from a terrible fate. But for now, all that's
Jest ten motyw Valorba, nie? Tej maski takiej.
just a theory. With Path of Exile 2's third act heavily influenced by the Val and exploring their decrepit but beautiful lands, we're certain to discover more about their culture and influence over Rayclast. Topic 4, the Karui. Another civilization native to the cruel land of Rayclast are the Karui. They live across the Great Karui Archipelago and Yamakanui in tribes, often in combat with each other, and great civilizations who encroach on the land of Rayclast, most notably the Eternals, who we'll discuss in a minute. Their vast conquest across mainland Rayclast are recounted as legend, and the figures who led their hordes are some of the most well-known in all of history, notably King Kaum and Queen Hiri, Kaum's niece. In Path of Exile 2, it appears we might venture into the Karui afterlife, the Halls of the Dead, where all the iconic people from Karui legend reside. We're also going
Halls of the Dead to pewnie zostanie wprowadzona do gry niedługo kostka Horadrimów, jak sądzicie?
to Nyamakernui itself. There, we'll likely learn much more about these Ray-class natives, how their story unfolds 20 years after the events of Path of Exile 1. Topic 5. The Eternals. Descended from distant Ray-class natives known as the Asmiri are the Eternals of the Eternal Empire. Ruled by a line of emperors from its capital of Sarn, the location of the Val Empire's long-gone capital, the Empire conquered a majority of mainland Ray-class and subjected much of the populace to its rule. Additionally, they acted as an extension of the Val in terms of civilization and virtue gem study, with one of their head thaumaturgists, Malachi, progressing virtue gem and thaumaturgy research like an echo of Doriani. They even had an entire horde bolstered by virtue gems inserted into the beam.
Kurde. Mogą wszczepy robić swoim poddanym i budować, mogli zbudować armię badassów, nie?
The Gemling Legions. After years of successful rule by
Gemling Legion.
legendary figures like Tarkus Varuso and Emperor Azaro Fretius, the Eternal Empire buckled under the rule of Chittus Parandus and a revolt known as the Purity Rebellion, headed by the rebel Vol. This conflict shaped the continent of Ray-class and enveloped numerous pre-existing factions. At its core, the rebellion focused on the wiping clean of the use and experimentation of virtue gems and thaumaturgy and the embrace of a monotheistic religion. Vol won, but in his victory and ascension to Emperor, Malachi, the aforementioned head thaumaturgist and imaginary descendant of Doriani, tricked. Malachi promised he could bring an end to all thaumaturgy, but ended up spewing forth the cataclysm from within the beast, which brought an end to the Eternal Empire, killing the bulk of those who lived across the land and further corrupting all of Ray-class. More on the beast soon, and more on Malachi in the next. Topic 6. The Templars. The Eternals were survived by the youngest of Ray-class civilizations, the Templar of Oriath, a culture devoted to the worship of God and the endowment of an orderly world. These people live on a tiny island off the southeast coast of Ray-class, their country founded by the followers of Innocence, banished by the ancient Asmiri. Though they
Trochę antyk, co?
boast godliness, order, and righteousness, their true actions showcase anything but. Their civilization is built on the backs of Karui slaves. Their leaders, the High Templars, are mostly corrupt and knee-deep in following in Doriani and Malachi's footsteps. If you choose to play as a Templar in Path of Exile 1, he espouses as much. Still, they are the preeminent and most powerful civilization still breathing in Path of Exile 1 for most of the game. By the time Path of Exile 2 rolls around, they are beleaguered and broken, but still alive. Hints point at their possible resurgence, with a new hero at their helm, but nothing is yet confirmed. Topic 7. The Gods. In the early
Ale dużo inspiracji właśnie z antycznej Grecji, upadek Rzymu, bardzo mocny influence antyku, nie? Jak ktoś lubi takie, ja uwielbiam tą architekturę.
earliest stirrings of the world,
Aby
mortals
więcej.
could rise to become bastions of power, ascending above their fleshy compatriots.
No.
These larger-than-life
Mitologiczne bardzo, nie? Jakbyś wszedł w tę historię, to jest dobry młyn, ale pozytywnie czy negatywnie, że dużo rzeczy jest niekanonicznych pijam, czy dużo jest wątków?
entities were and still are called gods of Ray-class. Their power was derived from sheer number of worshippers and belief in them, for the most part. This rise to prominence caused them to become immortal.
Pijam, historia, Path of Exile, wątki, wybory, masturbacja, dużo krwi. Bardzo dobrze, to takie właśnie realne, takie życiowe. Jeszcze powinny dojść orgie w łaźniach i mamy cały antyk. I starożytną Grecję. Ćpania, kryształu, orgie są? Fantastycznie. To dobrze. Taki lore bez cenzury i to podbija wiarygodność, nie? Gdzie wady, Borysow? No ja też nie mogę znaleźć. Więcej nie musisz
At the
namawiać.
cost of their own humanity. Up until the point the beast was created, mortals could ascend to godhood using divine power. After the creation of the beast, new gods could not rise with the help of divinity, but plenty of mortals absorbed power using the strength of corruption. More on the beast next. In Path of Exile 2, the gods of Ray-class should be still alive and well, with many of the most well-known ones dead, killed by the protagonist of Path of Exile 1. It's a wonder which we'll encounter throughout the game, if we meet any at all, as the primary antagonists in PoE 2's campaign seem to be attempting to recreate the device that affected every god in existence. Topic 8. The Beast. Not all praise the monumental might championed by these all-powerful deities, and so one of their own, a god named Sin, engineered an abomination of a creature called the Beast. Sometime between the prime of
To wygląda jak ten.
engineered an
Bez kitu,
abomination
wiecie co mi to przypomina? Volcano Manor. Czekajcie. Volcano Manor z Elden Ringa, bez kitu. Ale mi to... Ale to ma tak 1:1 wręcz. Jak się dopiero wchodzi do Volcano Manor, stajecie tutaj, no nie? Dopiero wchodzimy i widzimy takie coś. Dopiero czwartek. Ostatni czwartek bez poły, pamiętaj o tym.
of a creature called the Beast. Sometime between the prime of the Val and the wars of the Eternal Empire. Its creation ripped and spawned many magics in the world, and forced many gods into an eternal slumber, or suppressed their strength, and, many theorize, gave birth to thaumaturgy, and thusly, virtue gems. It would not be a stretch of
Świetny lore z tymi gemami. Całkowicie mi to podbija w ogóle vibe do Poe, bo jakby kompletnie nie sądziłem, że gemy są kanoniczne w jakikolwiek sposób.
reason to consider the Beast the source of all malformation in Rayclast.
Ej, te oczy tutaj wszędzie przypominają mi Yogg-Sarona z World of Warcraft. Przypominają mi Old Godsów po prostu. Bardzo Old Godsowy vibe.
Accomplished the weakening of the gods, but gave birth to what many believe to be a far greater evil. Iconic figures like Doriani, Atziri, Malachi, and High Templar Dominus all tapped into the power of the Beast, known to them and others as Nightmare or Darkness. As mentioned before, the Beast resides in Mount Veruso, outside Highgate. It is large enough to walk through and is likely the source of all virtue gems across the planet. Some of these icons, like Malachi, sought to tame the Beast, but ended up becoming corrupted servants of it, spreading nightmare just as the Beast does.
Bardzo Old Godsowy vibe z World of Warcraft, no nie? Zresztą to jest bardzo pochodne wszystko. Ta fantastyka Old Godsów.
Although it does not do so
Jak się nazywa? Lovecraft też opierał się bardzo na Old Godsie, nie?
intentionally, it is merely a side effect of its creation and intended purpose at the hands of sin. When we venture inside the Beast in Act 4 of Path of Exile 1, slay Malachi, and then slay the Beast, the gods awaken, but virtue gems and thaumaturgy remain intact. Corruption stays spread throughout the world, but divine power has returned. It's very curious indeed. The power stored inside the Beast was near unparalleled. And there are those who seek to replicate its sheer force of will over the entire world. We might just encounter some of those individuals in Path of Exile 2 as we chase the seed corruption. Next up, the Path of Exile 1 campaign. Next up in this video series is the quick breakdown of Path of Exile 1's campaign, act by act, with each act's recap taking about 1 minute. Following that video will be a summary of Path of Exile 1's endgame stories like the Conquerors of the Atlas, the Shakers,
tak!
and the Maven. A final video will follow, discussing which Path of Exile 1 League stories are likely important for Path of Exile 2, and laying out those stories. Is there anything else players need to know about Path of Exile 1's lore for Path of Exile 2? Let me know. If you like this video, like it and subscribe to Talkative Try for more content just like it. I'll see you in the next one, my fellow.
Ej, zajebisty content! To jest świetny content, to się ogląda jak serial na Netflixie normalnie, jeszcze goś zajawkę daje taką na sam koniec. No genialne, bardzo dobrze się ogląda. 4 odcinki to są, dawajcie znać w komentarzu na YouTubie w tym momencie, jak oglądasz to na YouTubie, czy chcesz więcej? I subskrybuj po więcej. Już naprawdę na kanale znajdziesz mnóstwo materiałów, mamy lore Path of Exile, mamy lore Diablo 2, mamy lore Diablo 1, Diablo 3 też zahaczamy, Diablo 4 nawet. Do następnego, elo!